Thank you very much. Ms. MacDonald?
Thank you, Chairman Feinstein, and other distinguished members of the caucus for the opportunity to speak to you today.
Pull the mic down a little bit and be
sure it's on. Is that a bit better?
Thank you, that's fine.
Our organization, the International Council on Security and Development, ICOS, is a project of the Network of European Foundations, which brings together 12 Europe-based foundations, as well as the Charles Stewart Mott Foundation in the United States. Over the past years, ICOS has been working in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Somalia. We have a particular focus in southern Afghanistan, where we have a permanent field office in Lashkargah City in Helmand Province. We do research on security and development, Taliban presence and recruitment, the political and election process, and we have a special focus on counter-narcotics. I have led our field research team in southern Afghanistan these last 4 years. I've seen the return of the Taliban firsthand. Although over the past years there has been some small temporal victories in our struggle against the illegal opium economy in Afghanistan, we still losing ground in our overall fight against what has become a main obstacle on Afghanistan's road to stability and development. What we have learned since 2003, when counter-narcotics efforts in Afghanistan really started, is that aggressive crop eradication without solid short-term alternative development strategies has had only 2 structural effects: more poverty and more support for the Taliban. In this sense, our counter-narcotic efforts have so far unfortunately worked at cross purposes, considering our overarching strategy to win the hearts and minds of the people in Afghanistan. We welcome the statement of the new administration to halt forced poppy crop eradication, which was clearly a failing policy. Interdiction surely is an important part of our response, and this administration's renewed commitment is important. In our view, the involvement of members of the provincial and federal governments in Afghanistan in opium trafficking is a challenge that must now be taken up by the international community, having been neglected in favor of political expediency in the past. As you may know, we at ICOS have launched a Poppy for Medicine proposal in 2005, which is a joint counter-narcotics and counterinsurgency initiative. As such, it intends to bridge the gap between today's political and economic realities in Afghanistan and the longer-term impact of current alternative livelihood programs. The key feature of Poppy for Medicine model is that opium would be transformed into morphine tablets in the Afghan villages, adding to the employment base in the rural areas. This entails licensed production run by a specially designed village shura control process in collaboration with the central government and international actors. We have developed over the last years in a consultative process detailed protocols regarding control and establishing a competitive farm gate price. There is a global shortage for morphine, especially in the developing world, and ironically, in Afghanistan itself. The United States has previously used licensing of opium for medicine as a response to opium trafficking in Turkey and India, starting in the 1970s, to good effect. Apart from the economic benefits of Poppy for Medicine, in many areas, this project would provide us with one of the first opportunities to build a positive relationship between the Afghan people, the federal government, and the international community. Bringing the poppy farmers within the legal economy would also integrate the rural areas more firmly within the structure of the Afghan state. Integrating poppy farmers and their communities into the legal economy will effectively drive a wedge between those communities and the Taliban insurgency. It turns the federal government and the West into the poppy farmers' business partners, severing their current business relationship with the Taliban and criminal elements. This counterinsurgency aspect of Poppy for Medicine is currently more important than ever as we see the urgent need to find ways to connect to the Afghan people at the local level in a positive way. In developing this approach, we believe it's critical to allow the defense and security forces of the West to focus their wide area surveillance systems, such as the J-STAR aircraft, on tracking ground movement activities as part of an interdiction and a monitoring project, so as to enable ground forces to effectively target the warehousing of opium, the interdiction of manufacturing into heroin, the supply chains, and the distribution networks of the traffickers. This important and expensive technology, which has been used to good effect in Bosnia and Iraq by the United States for security purposes, should be fast-tracked for use in Afghanistan counter-narcotics efforts, which to our knowledge has not yet occurred. We see the Poppy for Medicine approach as an elegant and innovative response to a seemingly intractable problem. There are many ways to implement it. We don't feel we can lose another year. We would like to launch Poppy for Medicine pilot projects in southern Afghanistan as soon as possible. Another option is a one-harvest amnesty program, allowing us to test buying opium for the morphine production phase. I wanted to focus today on Poppy for Medicine, but I'd like to close by noting that we believe today's approaches to the Afghanistan issue must be marked by significant new fulcrums in our relationships with the Afghan people. Our current research on the recruitment process of the Taliban focuses on inoculating the large number of young unemployed men from supporting the Taliban, drawing into criminal activity through the use of marriage allowances, family allowances. With all of these programs we characterize as non-violent security instruments. These types of new projects and the out-of-the-box thinking are what's needed in Afghanistan, and we would say urgently needed, and what cannot and should not be supported are cautious approaches and plans which are stamped more of the same. I'm filing today, along with my written testimony, copies of our research reports and other background information, which I hope you will find of interest. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very interesting testimony.